All right, so we're diving deep today into the minds of this really cool author duo. We've got five little snippets of their stories, fantasy and sci-fi stuff. And knowing you well, you love the whole creative process thing. So I think you'll dig these.
Yeah, you know what gets me about these two? It's how they take these like classic tropes, your zombies, your reapers, even talking cats, God love those, and
Mm.
make them, I don't know, new again. It's like familiar but fresh, you know?
Totally. Like, take their story. Catalypt, it's post-apocalyptic, right? But instead of just surviving, the main character, Callie, she's got this whole pack of, like, mutated mega cats protecting her.
And it's more than just like cool visuals, right?
Right.
There's this whole layer of, I think, exploring interdependence, especially in this like bleak future they've created. Callie using the cat's senses because hers aren't as good. It's clever.
Right. Makes you think about that whole human-animal bond thing in a whole new way. But okay, hold on to your hands because Cruel Afterlife, man, this one's wild. It's Ghost, right? But she's stuck watching her own zombie self stumble around.
It's hilarious, but also there's this depth to it, right? Like, what even defines you after you're gone? Is it the body, the spirit, both? This Jacqueline, the ghost, she's wrestling with some serious existential stuff.
And then to top it off, she makes a deal, wait for it, with a demon.
Classic. But, you know, it's never that simple, is it? The authors always twist the knife, morally speaking.
Speaking of twists, it's all but a dream. Whoa, boy. Imagine being a writer and suddenly, boom, you realize you're just a character in your own head.
Talk about metafiction, right? But it's brilliant. It's like this writer, Mila, coming face to face with her own creations. There's this hunky hero, Sawyer, naturally, a tough-as-nails best friend, Marla, even a villain with a thing about scars.
Characters coming to life. That's going to mess with your head, right? Okay, ready for something a little different?
Hit me with it.
Late Night Diner. It's got that paranormal romance vibe, but with the twist. Imagine having to choose between a brooding werewolf and, let's say, a very confident vampire king. Tough choice, right?
All within the setting of a late-night diner, no less. It's that contrast, the ordinary and the totally bonkers, that makes these authors so good.
Okay, last one. Reaper of Death. Buckle up, because this time we've got a necromancer who, get this, becomes the Grim Reaper. But instead of reaping souls, she brings people back.
It's like they took the whole Reaper thing and flipped the script. And you know what else? This one's got a talking cat, too. Tommy.
Can't go wrong with a talking cat, right? Especially one with a good dose of sarcasm.
Exactly. It adds a bit of lightness to what's actually a pretty dark story. I mean, messing with life and death, that's some heavy stuff.
No kidding. But that's what I love about this duo. They don't shy away from the big questions. Life, death, identity, all wrapped up in these fantastical stories.
And that's what makes these stories stick with you, you know? They make you think. Like, in Catalypse, it's not just about the mega cats, right? There's this whole thing with Callie saving these villagers from raiders, but they're still kind of wary of her.
Yeah, it's like they don't trust her, even though she just saved them.
Exactly. Speaks volumes about fear and prejudice and all that, especially in a world that's gone, you know, sideways. But hey, speaking of things that are a little less intense, can we talk about the talking animals? I mean, come on.
Oh, absolutely. It's like every other story has one. We've got talking cats coming out of our ears.
Right, and they're not just there for cuteness either. Like, take Tommy and Reaper of Death. He's got this whole sarcastic thing going on, but he's also, like, Misha's moral compass, you know?
And then you've got Firefly and Cadillac, who's a total wild card. And let's not forget about The Secret Life of a Cat, where the whole story is from the cat's point of view.
Oh, man, that one's so clever. The way they use that perspective to kind of flip the script on the whole human-animal bond thing, it's great.
Totally. But, you know, it makes you think about perspective in a whole other way, too. Like, It's All But a Dream, with the writer becoming part of her own story.
Right. It's like, what's real, what's not. The line gets so blurry.
Hmm.
And those characters, man, they really get under your skin. Especially the villain, all scared of a scar, of all things.
That's what makes these authors so interesting, though, right? They don't shy away from the weird stuff. They embrace it.
Totally. And that's how you get these stories that are both entertaining and, like, genuinely thought-provoking.
Exactly. Like Late Night Diner, it's got werewolves, vampires, the whole 9 yards. But at its core, it's really about Madison, the main character, figuring out who she is.
It's about breaking free from expectations, right? Like, she's supposed to choose between these two supernatural beings, but ultimately, it's her choice, her life.
And that's such a powerful message. It's not just a paranormal romance. It's about finding your own path.
Exactly. And you see that same kind of empowerment in Reaper of Death, too, even though it's a totally different kind of story.
Right. Misha, she's got this incredible power, but it comes with a cost. She's constantly wrestling with the implications of what she can do.
And she doesn't always make the right choices either, which makes it even more interesting. It's like, how far would you go, even with the best intentions?
It's a question we all have to ask ourselves
Yeah.
in our own lives, even if we're not, bringing people back from the dead.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like, be careful what you wish for, even with superpowers. Speaking of which, that whole deal with the demon in Cruel Afterlife, talk about high stakes.
Oh, totally. It's that classic Faustian bargain, but with, a zombie twist.
Right. Jacqueline's trying to stop her undead self from wreaking havoc, so she makes this deal with this demon, Abaddon. Talk about desperate times.
And you know what I love? Even though the story's dealing with death and zombies and demons, the authors still find these moments of humor. It's kind of their signature, I think.
Yeah, they definitely don't take themselves too seriously, which makes it even more fun to read. But it makes me think about Reaper of Death again.
Okay.
Misha, she's literally bringing people back from the dead, and that's got to come with some baggage.
Oh, for sure. I mean, imagine the stories those people would tell, right? But it's also like a huge responsibility. Who gets to come back, who doesn't? It's heavy stuff.
And then there's Tommy, her talking cat, always there with a witty comment. Like, even in the darkest of times, you got to have a little laugh track.
Absolutely. And Tommy, he's more than just comic relief, too. He's like Misha's conscience, always pushing her to think about the consequences of her actions.
He's a good cat to have around, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me how these authors can jump between genres like it's nothing.
I know, right? One minute it's post-apocalyptic mega cats, the next it's a ghost battling her zombie self.
And they never miss a beat.
Hmm.
But no matter what world they're building, they always manage to touch on these, like, universal truths. Good versus evil, love, sacrifice, the importance of finding your own way.
Exactly. And they remind us that even in worlds with talking cats and necromancers, those things still matter.
Well said. Well, folks, there you have it. Another deep dive into the world of storytelling. And let me tell you, my imagination is definitely sparked. Who knows what we'll uncover next time. Until then, happy reading.